Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Gene Edwards. You are watching LUBED for March 21st, 2023, as the Edmonton Oilers get set to take on the Arizona Coyotes at the Rogers Place in Edmonton. This will be the second time that they met, and it's going to be also the second time in the Rogers Place. The first time they met, it was an absolute thumping by the Edmonton Oilers by a count of 8-2. We're going to get into all that stuff when I get into the game within the game. But yeah, they absolutely crushed them. They should be able to destroy them tomorrow with no problem. Before I dive into that, guys, I just want to give a shout out to Alexander Ovechkin, man. Like, what he is doing is simply amazing. You know, like right now I'm witnessing McDavid do what he's doing, Ovechkin breaking records. Just a good time to be a hockey fan for sure. As he surpassed Gordie Howe the other night in the Winnipeg game, and they did a huge celebration tonight in Washington. Huge presentation from family, friends, from the league, from teammates. Like just an amazing job, an amazing accomplishment. First of all, now he only has one guy left, one guy to chase, and you guys know who that is. Number 99, Wayne Gretzky. So yeah, way to go, Alex. Awesome. The other note of the day is Fanatics is set to take over for Adidas in 24-25 to be the clothing company of choice, or the jerseys or whatnot. I don't know how I would word that, but basically they are going to be the team to supply, or the company to supply the teams their jerseys and outfit the NHL teams. I'm a little bit concerned about this. And I read online, a lot of people are actually concerned. I'm not the only one. Fanatics has been known for poor quality in several occasions. And I had my own personal experience when I went to the mall here in Kelowna. And I went to a Foot Locker. And I saw these Oiler jerseys. And then I saw these Fanatic jerseys they were like $189. So they're about $100 cheaper. And I looked at them, regular colors, or regular that. They didn't really have the air knit and any of that kind of stuff like how the authentic jerseys have. But one thing that was such a turn off, and I couldn't find myself to buy it, is this jersey had iron-on numbers and iron-on nameplates. And I'm like, no, I can't spend over $200 on something like that. I was close because it was Gretzky, right? I wanted to have it, wanted it for my channel and that, but I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. So I'm not saying that their jerseys, when they come out in 24-25, are going to be iron-ons, but I am going to be a little bit paying attention to the quality, paying attention to what people think on the internet, what to look for, what not to look for, and see if they come up with some pretty good product. Anyway, we do have a game to talk about tomorrow as the Arizona Coyotes come into the Rogers Place with a record of 27-32-11 for 65 points. They are 7th in the Central, and they are still hanging on by a thread. I pretty much am counting them out of the playoffs already, but there's still officially technically a chance for them to make it. And that's like all the other teams have to kind of fall, and they win through and they run the board. As for the Oilers, really good chance that they are going to be in the playoffs, as they come into this game with a 40-23-8 record for 88 points. Currently 3rd in the Pacific, chasing LA and Vegas for that #1 spot. And actually, they are chasing to have the conference title, and we'll see what happens there. I don't think there's a chance for them to win the President's Trophy. I think Boston's got that as a shoe-in. But it'd be nice to see if they could win the conference. That would be really awesome. As far as the lines go, now these lines are based off of March 21st. So this was yesterday. And it was during the game. That's the funny thing is, because the source says the last game. At what point in time was this taken in the last game? Because Jay Woodcroft had the lines in a blender all night long. So at the time that this was taken, so I don't expect this to be the lines going into tomorrow's game. But it was Leon Draisaitl with McDavid and Kyler Yamamoto, Zach Hyman with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Warren Foegele. Evander Kane was on the third line with Nick Bjugstad and Matthias Janmark. Fourth line had Klim Kostin with Devon Shore and Derek Ryan. The defensive pairings were no change at all, as it was Nurse with CC, Matthias Ekholm with Bouchard, and Brett Kulak with Philip Broberg. So yeah, not really much changed there. As far as the injuries go, some of the more notable injuries, and I actually did a little research because there's some of these players I haven't heard of in quite a while that are pretty prominent players and were pretty prominent players. And I'm starting to think that Arizona is kind of the burial ground for contracts, it seems like. And that could very well hold true for a few of these, as when it comes to Ladd, he failed his physical and will start the season on the IR. This was at the beginning of the season. He's had 3 surgeries on his knee, so that's not a good thing. He appeared in 81 NHL games in the past 4 seasons, but it just seems like could very well be done from the league. And another one that I'm actually surprised and kind of sad to hear, because he's kind of one of my favorites on opposing teams, and that's Jakub Voracek. And this is the way it's written, is there is concern that Voracek may have played his last game in the NHL due to ongoing symptoms from multiple head injuries throughout his career. Voracek suffered a concussion in Finland, so this is when he was on the Blue Jackets, by the way, and has not played since. So he hasn't played since November 4th. I'm thinking that's another guy that might be calling it a day. As far as Ryan Murray goes, he was placed on the long-term injury reserve for back issues November 21st. That was a long, long time ago. He hasn't played a game since. Likely will not see a game this year. And I think we only had him to a one-year contract, if I do recall correctly. So I think he's played his last game as an Edmonton Oiler, maybe potentially his last game altogether. And I guess the one bright spot out of injuries is Ryan McLeod is day-to-day. It's an undisclosed injury, so we don't know what's going on with him. But this was also listed when they played the Stars last week, and he's still fighting through it. I don't know if he's going to be in the lineup tomorrow. But that's all I got. I don't have any reports on if it's upper body or lower body with him. We're just going to have to wait and see. Okay, when it comes to the game within the game, the last time these guys met, as I mentioned at the beginning of this broadcast, the Coyotes got absolutely hammered by a count of 8-2. McDavid had 2 goals, 2 assists for a 4-point night. Nuge had 3 points. Ryan had 2 points. They absolutely crushed the Coyotes, and they should have. I mean, Coyotes are not a very good team this year. Let's face it. They are struggling. They're tanking for Berard, one of those teams that are tanking for Berard, and we'll see if they're lucky enough to get him. But yeah, I think tomorrow should be an easy win for the Oilers, but we'll see. The one thing that did happen in the last time, we saw the return of Zack Kassian. It was his first time back in Edmonton since being traded at the draft last summer, and it was his first return. He got a huge standing O. Has nothing but good things to say about the city of Edmonton. In fact, he told Nick Bjugstad when Nick Bjugstad was on his way here, he says, "You're going to absolutely love Edmonton." He goes, "The playoffs is absolutely a nut show," which it is, because I've been to a few playoff games myself in my time. So he has nothing but admiration for the city. And he managed to get into a tilt with one of our players, and that was Klim Kostin. But at least he didn't get into a tilt with like a Darnell Nurse, one of his friends from his previous team. He has no relationship to Klim Kostin. There's no friendship, no nothing there. So it was an easy tilt for him. And I think he took the best of it. I think Klim Kostin actually pinned him down pretty good on that game. Okay, so when it comes to the stats here, there's not too many things to say about Arizona's stats, to be honest with you. Okay, they're really good with shootout wins, I guess. That's probably the most prominent ones. As far as the Oilers go, we know they got an amazing power play, amazing shooting percentage. They're doing a lot of things right offensively. Defensively, however, they're still a work in progress. Goaltending, still a work in progress. But they're working through it, and we will see what happens. As far as the notable trends go, the Coyotes are 4-0 in their last 4 overall. They are 0-4 in the last 4 meetings with the Oilers, and the Oilers have nothing but hot trends as they are 4-0 in their last 4 overall, 5-0 in their last 5 home games, 6-1 in their last 7 games played. It's looking very good for the Oilers. They you know, as much as we want to complain about how they played last night against San Jose, and I complained about Jack Campbell again, I'll own up to it because I did, and it's on video proof. They're playing very good hockey. I mean, I think they're 8-2 in their last 10 now, so you can't complain about that. You cannot complain about that when LA, Vegas, and us are all kind of streaming along the same way with these 8-2 records. So I'm not going to complain anymore about it. But I am going to hold reservation when it comes to the playoffs and the goaltending situation, and hold my breath that Stewart doesn't go down. Okay, so that brings us to the final thoughts for tonight. I would like to hear from you guys. Feel free to message me on the message lines, as I don't do this episode live. I never do my pre-games live. I just do the post-game live. But I would like to hear from you your favorite Zach Kassian moment, and I would like to also hear from you your worst moment. And I'll share mine with you right now. Favorite Zach Kassian moment: him absolutely ragdolling Tkachuk a few years ago. Mathew Tkachuk, that is. I had to kind of quickly collect my thought there. Mathew Tkachuk being ragdoll when he was a Calgary Flame. That was the game that Talbot and Mike Smith got into the scrap. That was just an unbelievable game. It just happened to be that I was replacing my TV that night, so I missed most of it. But just an amazing, amazing night. My worst moment is when he was a Vancouver Canuck and he absolutely shattered Sam Gagner's jaw with a horrible high stick right across the jaw. Sam Gagner had a busted jaw, was out for several weeks after that. And then I just was like livid. Like, that was so vicious. That was assault. I was like, I wanted to headhunt the guy. So those are my 2 moments. I'd love to hear your guys' moments. Feel free to leave them in the comments section. And that's about all I got. So those of you who are witnessing this channel for the very first time and like the content that I deliver and bring to you, feel free to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. As for the rest of you guys, as always, stay healthy, stay happy, stay hydrated. We will talk tomorrow night, post-game live, versus the Arizona Coyotes. Have a good one, guys.
Don't wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do. Well, I'ma make hella sure that I don't become you. I have no regrets, yeah, I'll tie up my chest. I'll never forget what